Hi, and welcome to the Purpose Pursuit podcast with me, Hannah Miller. I am so excited about this episode. So many of you loved the conversation I had with my son Jude, who is now 19 years old. He's back from his gap year and travelling, and we have a really vulnerable catch-up conversation with each other, which is full of all the different things he got up to on his gap year, what he's learned about himself, what he's learned about life change and grieving and friendship and decision making. And if you've got a young person in your life, it's worth listening. If you haven't got a young person, it's worth listening because there's so much wisdom from young adults. And if you are a young adult, it's worth listening. So on all of those levels, I would really encourage you to listen in because it's really special. Just to say, it really rained while we were recording this episode. So you might hear a little bit of the rain in the background or a little bit of tapping or a bit of noise, but most of that we will be able to edit out. But just so you know, it was absolutely tipping it down when we recorded this episode. I really hope you enjoy it, and I'd love to know what you think of it. So, Jude, we are back. I can't believe we're the other side of this. You are well and truly back from travels, and we thought we would have a part two. We always said we'd have a part two. If people are listening to this and they haven't listened to part one, Jude and I, my son, did a conversation just before you left to go travelling.
Got quite a lot of attention.
We did get a lot of attention, which is why I'm very
Positive
keen.
and negative.
Yeah, we did have a lot of attention. It was possibly one of my most viewed episodes.
I think it might have been.
Okay, yeah, it's because you're so handsome. People just wanted to look at you. And we also had a little bit of viral activity, didn't we? Like, as well as lots of people enjoying it and listening to it and enjoying what you'd got to say. We had my first experience of trolls.
You did.
People saying, what did they say? I'm a mafia mom.
Yeah.
What else did they say?
I was travelling across the world to get away from you.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how they got that from
a
30-second clip. But,
but they said that you were going 10,000 miles away to get away from
lots
me.
of comments about how I was going to not be in contact with you at all while I was away.
And that boys don't care. Boys don't message their mothers and get a grip. He doesn't need to message you or have contact with you. And when he gets married, he'll forget about you. Yeah. And who knows if he wants to get married and stop projecting your life ideas onto your son. I mean, people who don't think we've ever talked about his life ambitions, I mean, maybe I do already know what his hopes and dreams are, perhaps because he's my son.
It is funny, bizarre world.
It was funny, and that people wanted to spend their time and energy on being a bit unkind.
I know.
Having said that, lots of people said lots of great things. And so we thought we would take the rough with the smooth and we would go again. So I've done a bit of prep, thinking about what we did last time. I know you've had to think and a reflect, but I've got some questions. We're going to work our way through them. We'll see where we go and see what happens. All right?
Yeah.
So this is part two, back from travels, getting ready for the rest of life. Let's go. Right. So first of all, what's one thing that you were glad to have back after getting home, having been away for 6 months essentially without all of comforts? What was something you were glad to get back?
I think my own bed.
Yes, a bed.
It is. Yeah, that was a luxury.
And to be able to sleep
to be fair,
like this?
I can sleep well pretty much wherever I am. So there were lots of times where I was sharing a bed. Like I think I was probably every other night I was probably sharing a bed with my mate Ben or Eli.
And Caleb, didn't you share a bed with him?
Yeah, I shared a bed with, shout out to Caleb, in Vanuatu. That was rough. That was a month of just non-stop.
Rough because of Caleb?
No. He sleeps like, he's almost like a robot. Like, just still the whole night.
Doesn't Caleb wear a mask like me and plugs like me?
Plugs, mask. He's like literally like a robot and so structured with how he sleeps. But no, I can sleep well pretty much anywhere. But I was just and changing beds all the time, and it's quite nice to just have your own space and your own bed.
Yeah. So. Okay. Did you miss milk as much as you thought you would?
I did. I genuinely did. That is not.
We had a conversation about how milk was.
Yeah. I got like so used to not having cereal. Like we just didn't have. I had cereal one night. On my birthday actually, not night. The guys that I was with in Vanuatu brought some cereal for me. So that was a lovely treat. But yeah, and I'm not sure what the milk.
Does milk taste different in
I think
different places?
It does taste different. The milk was okay there actually, but while I was in Southeast Asia, there was no milk really, just lots of noodles and rice.
It's funny how you get used to things and
pancakes
and realise it's something that like cereal was a treat on your birthday. Maybe it'll be a treat on your birthday next year.
Yeah.
What did you miss from back home that you might not have anticipated? So you thought you were going to miss milk. Was there anything else? You missed your bed?
I think I did miss like the routine. Obviously, I missed family and friends. So that's kind of expected. Although even as the time went by while I was away, you do kind of get more used to that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And I kind of can understand how people can move to another country and just get adjusted to normal life. Obviously, you still miss them, but you do get more adjusted to it. It becomes more normal.
We get adjusted too.
Yeah. Like I think the most homesick I felt was in the first month or so, and then on my birthday, and other moments that we'll probably touch on later. But I think routine was something that I was more surprised that I'd missed, because I don't I'm quite happy usually to be quite spontaneous and to.
You're a funny mix though. You're spontaneous and you like a bit of routine.
Yeah, but I think literally 5.5 months of not really normal life, and sleeping at different times all the time, or getting an overnight bus on one night and then having rubbish sleep and sleeping in the day, or all that kind of thing, and not having a structure was something that I definitely missed.
Yeah.
I'm glad to have now been back, and I'm excited for going into uni, having a bit more routine.
Spoiler alert, Jude's going to uni.
He is.
And that's the whole thing about routine and time off is such a weird one. We go on holiday desperate to get away from our routine, and when we're coming back, I'm itching to do a bit of normal. And the school summer holidays every year, we love it, don't we? But then everyone's ready for a bit of routine. And the minute we're back in routine, we're like, oh, I need a bit of a break. It kind of shows we just need both. Did you discover a new food that you really loved? I know you said the fruit in Vanuatu was unbelievably amazing, but obviously you've eaten fruit before. Was there anything new that you had and you were like, oh, this is so nice?
Oh, there was a particular fruit.
A new fruit?
I forgot what it is. If someone who's watching it who was in Vanuatu with me, then comment that down below. But I can't remember what it was, but there's one that we had a lot.
And that was a new fruit?
Pomplamoose. I think it's called pomplamoose, actually, something like that. And that was incredible. And then Vietnam.
Yeah, I think it was pomplamoose. I think you told me.
Yeah. Banh mi's in Vietnam. I like these baguettes with meat and veg and stuff in, but they're 40p and they taste so good.
It's so cheap.
It is ridiculously cheap. I felt morally compromised at points how cheap it was. Staying in a Airbnb with a hotel and a balcony for £3 a night just felt ridiculous. But yeah.
Wow. So all sorts of amazing things that happened. Now, I had so going back to the homesick thing, just to give my perspective on that, we also adjusted and just also deeply missed you at times. In the laundry, out of sight from in here, I printed out all the days that you were gone so I could see from start to beginning how long it was. This makes me feel really sad. And I highlighted every day as they went past. And so when you first left, it just looked like this massive expanse of time, and it was going to be so long you were away. And we were so sad. We came home, we cried, Levi cried, we felt just low, and we were going into the new year. It was New Year's Eve when we dropped you off, wasn't it? So we went into that new year feeling oh, this is hard. But similar to you, you do find a rhythm, and we didn't have much contact, did we, the first month, because that was part of the deal of the programme that you were on. But then we did establish contact, and I'd written you letters, and you get used to life, and I kept you so in my heart, but I felt like this is okay and he will come home. Yeah. Having said that, I did have loads of things that I was worried about, like mopeds, like other possible near-death experiences that you could have experienced, being bitten by a rabid dog or whatever. Yeah. But there was an encounter you had that was not on my list of things to be worried about. No. Tell us about this.
So while I was in New Zealand, doing this program called Soul Edge, there was a morning that we went out surfing, a group of us, and me and my friend Molly.
Hello, Molly.
Hello, Molly. We were just chatting, and we paddled to get out back and just sit up, and it was quite a lovely morning, so we were just chilling. But I was kind of facing out towards the horizon, out to sea. She was facing in towards the beach, sitting like this, kind of on
sitting
a board,
on your board,
sitting up on our boards, and we're just chatting, and kind of drifting out. I'm not really aware of how far we're drifting out because I'm not looking towards the beach, so I can't see how far out we've gone. But
Can I just say, when you first told me this story, I thought the story was going to be about you had drifted so far out that you had to be rescued. That's what I thought you were going to tell me, and I thought, oh, what a wally that he's just gone so far out to sea. Yeah. But that wasn't even it, was it?
No. And so we're just chatting, and then I'm like just talking to Molly, and then I see like probably like, I don't know, 5 meters away, 5 to 10 meters away, less than 10 meters, 5 meters away, this fin just looming above the water. And like we'd seen dolphins at other points, and the dolphins kind of, you know, come up and out and come like, yeah, they go up and go back in.
They're different.
But the shot that this fin was just looming above the water, this big fin, and I genuinely have never felt that scared in my life. I literally just fell onto my board, started paddling, almost forgot that Molly was there to tell her, and I was like, Molly, we need to go. There's a shark.
Did you shout? Because you aren't really shouted.
I don't know. I actually can't remember. Just don't know, fight or flight mode, and just I flew. But
I'm glad you didn't try to punch it.
And then I don't think Molly believed me, and then so she
wonder why, because you were full of stories.
she falls onto a board, but then kind of looks back, and then she sees it, and she's like, oh my days, and then we're like paddling back.
She's quite calm as well.
Yeah, she is. But we start paddling back, and then I realised just how far up we are, and I'm like, I actually come to terms with like, this might be the enemy. I might be in like some shark attack. And because obviously when you're on a board as well, I always remember
you look like
a seal, don't you, or whatever.
It's the best seal impression.
So I was panicking. Like that was like my arms were aching, like were dying before me. I was just trying to paddle, and Molly was pretty chill throughout it. She was like praying while we were doing it. I was on edge. And then we got to where the waves were breaking, and Ben's there, surfing. And I'm like, Ben, bro, we've just like seen a shark. And then I look back and I see the fin has come with us some of the way.
Still tracking.
It's tracked us. It wasn't as near as it was before, but it was way nearer than it had been. And then I'm like, oh my, we actually just need to get onto the beach. And so then we paddle to the beach. And we're just so full of adrenaline when I got on the beach. I had to run around for a minute.
Did you? I think I would have had to have laid down on the floor.
Okay, and then this is the stupid part. So hopefully Nan doesn't listen to this. Ben was like, we just need to like face our fear and go back in. So we then went back in 5 minutes later.
Ben said that, so it's Ben I've got to blame for that
10 minutes later.
Did you see it again?
No, we didn't. We didn't go that far out. But
my gosh.
It was, that was exciting. And I have also
got a little shark tattoo.
Partly to remember that, but also because
you liked it.
Just wanted to get a matching one with the boys. But
so 2 of your friends have got that shark tattoo as well.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that was a story I heard about afterwards, and that I knew you were safe and you were okay. There were a few other moped moments, weren't there?
Scar on the back, but
yeah.
Nothing too serious. But,
did you feel at all aware that actually, okay, life, I don't know, I always feel like teenagers, having been one myself, you always think it won't happen to you. Did some of the things that happen make you think, okay, sometimes things could happen to me? Or do you still feel that you've got that invincible attitude?
I think, there's a what's it called? Something Caleb definitely has, and we spoke to him about it. It's like the myth of like omnipotence or whatever. And I think I probably have that to invincibility, like, or like whatever.
I'll be fine.
That you'll just be fine, like no matter what. And I probably have that to an extent. I think I'm fairly rational. I think I can probably gauge when something's.
Do you?
Yeah, I actually do think so.
Fair enough.
I'm not like too like cautious, but then I'm also like not just.
None of you are cautious. None of you boys are cautious. You've got different personalities, but none of you are cautious, and neither's your dad. And there were times. There was a time on a bike where it was pretty hairy, and so that kind of gave me another reality check to be careful. No more bikes now. No more bikes now. Please, no more bikes. Okay, so as well as those things, obviously normal life was ticking on, wasn't it? And you were having normal life, and you have had the most amazing 6 months. Like that's the headline. You loved it so much that it was like to recognise that it was going to end. Even prior to the 6 months, I think the year as a whole, the first few months, September to December, were like arguably just as good in a different way. Like I loved that period of like seeing the same friends like a few times a week and working. That was really good. It's just been an incredible year, to be honest. Take a year out if you're umming and ahhing about it. But the thing was, it was really interesting that when we did the last pod, you were a bit worried about going away because you were like, this has been so lovely with my friends. Yeah. I'm worried about moving on to something else. It's not going to be as good. I'm sad to leave the ones behind who aren't. Yeah. Obviously, you and Ben were going to Soul Edge and nobody else. Yeah. And yet you now can look back and go, well, that was also amazing. You met Caleb, you met Gabe, you met lots of all the others that names I can't remember, Molly, Luke. I shouldn't have started. No, I'm panicking. But all of those people, and obviously Eli joined you, and all the others that you met along the way, your friends that you in Southeast Asia that you're going to be with at university, I think, aren't you?
Yeah.
So
Ollie
there's
and Laura.
loads of people you met that you now realise that actually, yes, that was hard to let that go, but that was brilliant too.
Yeah.
Is there a bit of a life lesson in that for you?
Yeah, probably. I think it hasn't made it any easier to move on though. I think it's something to think about when I am stepping into like a new life phase or like some sort of new chapter. I don't think it necessarily has made it easier because you still you face all the emotions of changing and grieving, like that period ending still. But I've even had that. We'll probably talk about it.
But I think you're right in what you're saying there, that it won't make it easier. It just reminds you that it's normal because...
Yeah. And also choosing to like be excited about, like you have a level of like autonomy over an agency over, your emotions and thoughts, and choosing to have positive thoughts about the future and choosing peace and excitement about things.
I mean, even this week, Callum moved out, didn't he? He's our lodger. He's getting married on Saturday. And we waved him off yesterday. You're going to be with him later, and he's obviously going to be living nearby. But I had a little cry when he left because it is the end of an era. Yeah. And I think in order to move, which is one of the things we talked about with uni, and you've come to the conclusion of realising that you've got to grieve what has finished before you can begin to get excited or imagine what the next chapter could be like. And you were in a bit of limbo for ages, weren't you, about that? I want to come back to that in a minute because I want to talk about the uni decision. But can we talk a bit about just grief generally and things that were hard? Because obviously while you were away, there were some hard things. Yeah. Can you talk a bit about what were the hardest things to navigate whilst being at a distance and being away from home, and just some of the things that you were facing?
So while we were away, my grandma passed away, which was like a really like...
Your dad's mum?
Yeah, dad's mum. Which is like really like a weird experience to have when you're so far away. And I think because I really like grieved it before I left, because I knew she was going to pass away, it kind of made that whole experience... I don't know, different to other times that I grieved, and also felt quite lonely. Like there's a moment I remember I was in Thailand, and I was watching the funeral live stream just on my own, and just felt so far away from home. And in those moments when you've lost someone, you want to be with your family and you want to be near, and that was really, really like difficult to grieve. And then also like you're asking questions about how am I able to like enjoy what I'm doing now while also grieving this. And I found that was really difficult, and it's also been something that I've probably had to like grieve again since I've come back. Like the other day I was just walking past where Mum I used to live, and I was just like overwhelmed of a wave of emotion of stuff that I'd maybe not fully processed.
I think we also deeply missed you that day, and that was another added. I just said I want Jude to be with us, and that was how we all felt, sitting there holding each other's hands, thinking there's somebody missing today who really needs to be here. And you're right, it shows you it was a weird experience for you we obviously had the rawness of it in the moment that was a bit harder perhaps for you to experience because you weren't here, and also there was a sense of relief that Mama was out of pain, and we all felt that too. But then you reflected on actually some of that building blocks of grief was harder for you to do, maybe, because you weren't here, and you've had to do that since coming home a little bit.
And I think there's just been a whole, like we've just spoke about how this 6 months have been, the past year have been incredible, and probably will be like, some time that I'll look back on as some of the best time, like months and year of my life. But there's actually been a lot of things that have been like really difficult within that, and it's just, I don't know, it's been something I've been like thinking a bit more about recently, about, like sometimes I almost felt like I couldn't necessarily grieve something, or I couldn't necessarily, feel sad about things because there's so much good going on in my life, and actually come to terms with it's okay to like to feel that. I'm not really articulating it very well, but it's okay to, have these like
Dual emotions.
Yeah, dual emotions, exactly.
But it's
and
true.
Like even like my nan as well, your mum, and that's been something that it's like a different way of grieving, but it's like seeing
She's
nan,
not who she
she's
was.
deteriorating. She's not the same nan that she was before I left, and like seeing her the other day, and then like almost grieving what she once was before, and I think there's just like a whole load of things that I had on my mind, and like grieving other things around, different friendships and relationships that I've maybe, lost or that have changed, or the fact that I'm moving on from this year.
You're growing
like,
up.
Yeah, like for example, like even just like for example Ben, like I spent like 5.5 months like with him, like 24/7. Don't know. Oh, this is so.
It's okay.
Yeah, but and then I'm going like to Leeds and he's going to Cardiff. It sounds ridiculous, but like I've got
It's
such
not
a
gonna be like it
bond
was.
and friendship with him and I've got so used to being so near to him that to then be far away, that will be difficult. But also it's like I'm grateful that I have got this relationship, this friendship with him, that I am grieving it. It's like if you love greatly, then you're gonna grieve greatly. And also it's not like I'm losing him. I'm more just, there's been like a whole load of different things, like with nan and grandma and this, and then the whole uni decision and wanting to make the right decision with that, and then other things going on.
I think that point you made about grieving and life being also brilliant is a really important thing that people don't talk about. Like I know from people who work in grief that this is one of the big challenges for people, that you are dealing with like the most heartbreaking thing, but also wonderful things can be happening, and people can sometimes feel guilty that they don't feel like that all the time, or that it belittles your grief.
Yeah, and also people can sometimes feel guilty that they're not necessarily feeling as sad as they should feel, or as sad as like maybe other people are reacting,
Or they can feel guilty that when they do find themselves laughing again, then it means that they weren't really bothered.
Yeah.
And this causes people to not be able to talk about grief, and that grief is a process that, it hits you in the face. Then something. I remember the day after your papa died, and that was a shock because he died young and unexpectedly. And we were all totally, really, it might have been the day, might have been the day after, but I remember being with your dad and your dad's siblings and us actually really laughing about something as well. And there's this capacity we have as humans to do all of that. And I don't think that feeling okay means that you've ticked a grief box, or that when you're really devastated that you can't then still feel some joy as well. And it's healthy to learn to do that. And what you're talking about is a life lesson, because you will grieve again and you will experience joy again, but you've had some experiences of grief this year of different kinds, like an actual death, nan's dementia, which means you're grieving somebody who's still here, which is arguably a really confusing way to grieve. You've grieved the end of an era with your friendships. You've grieved the end of some relationships that aren't going to be the same again. And you're grieving you're not a child
Moving out
anymore.
of home,
You said to me the other day, you said, Noah and I will probably never full-time live together again. That's a big deal when you love your siblings, even though they drive you mad. That's a lot of things to be focusing on. And other young people that are listening, or other parents who are listening, young people are standing in this like time of, I can never go back, and yet they've wanted to do is grow up, but now they've grown up, it's like, all those moments are gone.
I just think everyone's different as well with it. Like I have a tendency to like look back on things. I'm not necessarily as future focused, or I'm probably, some people are able to just be like, that's just kind of the way life goes. Like even the fact Noah is like nearly all of his friends from uni are moving away from Oxford, like that kind of thing, I'd find that really difficult. And he's kind of just taking it in his stride. It's just like
he's a bit more phlegmatic, isn't he?
The way life goes. But I feel like I've got more of a tendency to, I don't know, like,
it's because you
mull over those kind of things.
You do feel things in that way. So do I. Don't worry, it's okay. We're all different. There's not a right or wrong way. Sometimes I wish I wasn't, and it's flipping painful. So some of that was really hard. What about other things that you did that you grew in? Tell everyone a bit. I'd love to hear you in a bit more detail. You experienced spending time alone as well, didn't you? Although you were 24/7 with Ben, which was also a new experience. So spending that much time with one person. So one of the things that you did when you were away is you spent some time completely on your own, didn't you? You were intentionally fully alone without social, like without any kind
Yeah,
of
yeah,
technology,
yeah.
very basic food,
Yeah.
and you just spent some time really being alone.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
was that like for you? Because you are a social person.
Yeah, genuinely, that, like, I think that the time that I did that, those few days were some of the most, like, formative of my life, and I'm not even just exaggerating or
No.
like, you know, gassing something up, building something up. It was genuinely an incredible few days of, like, reflection and, like, sound mind. And I think when you actually, obviously, I'm a follower of Jesus as well, and so a lot of that time was spent praying and time with the Lord. But even if you don't, you know, necessarily have
Solitude
faith,
can be a practice.
solitude is something that is, I think, it's beneficial to anyone, and to have a bit of time away from the busyness of the world, where I was literally just on my own. There was no other people around. I didn't have my phone. I didn't have any technology. I just had my my journal and my Bible, and just that time to, like, the first few hours of it, you kind of you distract yourself and you think about things. But once, like, you give it more time and you get into, you know, deeper into it, and you're more and more hours into it, you just begin to, like, be able to just be, which was really, like, I know that sounds cliche, but I felt like I could just be in that moment. Like, I had things come to mind that I maybe hadn't processed before properly, or things that I began to write and journal about. And there was a time where I've always found writing difficult, and I'm quite a perfectionist, so I'd always write as if I thought someone else was going to read it, and so I had to write as if it was some sort of, like, great bit of literature. But actually, in that time, I just, like, was just flowing. And, like, pages and pages of my thoughts, things that I needed to, you know, give away and process, or things that I thinking are weaknesses in me that I became aware of in that moment, or things that I want to work on more. It was genuinely, I've actually booked in a date to do it before I go back to uni, because it was so good and such a great opportunity to just reflect, and almost, like, ready yourself for a new period of time. So I would recommend to anyone, faith or no faith,
to give it a go.
To give that a go, because it was far better than I expected. And I almost anticipated it being something that I'd find quite difficult, but I was excited for it, but I thought it could be something I'd find quite difficult. But it was incredible.
People who do this kind of thing do talk about profound moments and just getting past the uncomfortableness. Rory Stewart, who's on the podcast with Alistair Campbell, Rest is Politics, he does it every year. Yeah. And this year we did a 7-day one where he spent about, honestly, we'll have to go back to listen to the pod, but I think he said he spent 18 hours of each day cross-legged.
Yeah. Yeah,
and actually, that was hideous. I know you couldn't. It actually was hideous for him.
Yeah.
He found, and I think that was another level of challenge. But he always goes away and has this time without anything. There's another practice that I read about in a book where this particular lecturer at university, she's an art lecturer, and what she gets them to do at the very beginning of term is they're given the task of going to a gallery and finding any piece of art they like, and they have to sit in front of it for 4 hours and not move. Yeah. And just wait and see what happens when they get past that initial uncomfortableness, and then things you start to notice. So basically, it's that principle of what do you begin to notice that's really there, and it's the same with your thoughts. You start to notice things when you get past that. Oh, what am I going to have for tea? And oh, look at that leaf. You get past that to I've got this deep. Ugh. So I'm really impressed with you for doing that, and I do think the solitude thing is a really biggie, and
it's probably even more important in this, like, moment of time that we're in as well, where there's just so much
noise,
constant distraction and noise, and things vying for your attention. To just remember that,
do the opposite.
To just we are humans that just need to be sometimes and just be still. And you can go and do that anyway. You don't even need to go somewhere far away to do that.
No.
Like, I'm probably going to go to Sutton Park and do it there. So yeah.
Yeah, brilliant.